Tourism officials to focus on improving security within the industry. 55 prospective entrepreneurs graduate from the St. Joseph Small Business Development Project, and new telecoms director wants an e-conscious society. Hello, I am Tarnia Green. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Mervin Matthews. Stay with us for details of these stories and more after the break.
The facts as they are, brought to you every day. Only on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. Tourism officials for the next few days will focus on improving security within the industry. Police officers, port security officers, forestry officers, and representatives of private sector security firms and tourism entities are currently participating in a tourism security workshop, which began on Monday at the Fort Young Hotel. President of the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association, Yvonne Armour, says improved security within the tourism industry has been a concern of officials of the DHTA.
This important training is very timely as it supports local and regional efforts to address the issues of crime, the safety and security of our destinations, which affect visitors and locals alike. This initiative follows the DHTA-led delegation to our very own Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, where we successfully lobbied for the creation of a crisis management task force, more police presence in areas regularly visited by tourists, duty-free concessions on security surveillance equipment to the private sector, regular meetings with the Ministry of Tourism and the DDA to address security and general tourism-related concerns, among many others. We are well aware that the Caribbean is the most tourism-dependent region in the world, and that safety and security are vital to provide equality in tourism.
Tourism Minister Honorable Ian Douglas, in his address at the official opening of the workshop on Monday, explained that security enhancement in the tourism industry is very important, especially as his ministry prepares for a more active cruise season.
We are all cognizant of the fact that tourism today contributes the largest share to the national economy. I often refer to tourism as the lifeblood of Dominica's economy. The government of Dominica is also investing significant sums in upgrading and rebuilding infrastructure, such as our road networks, the main airport and seaport, our water systems, and tourism facilities such as the Cabris Hotel and Spa, all in an effort to ensure that Dominicans and visitors alike can enjoy living and visiting the island in relative comfort. In the 2013-2014 cruise tourism season, which begins in October 2013, we expect a 39% increase in cruise arrivals, or 89,000 additional visitors on our shores, and 50 additional cruise ship calls during the season. This means that there will be increased visitor activity at our cruise ship ports, on our streets, and all over Dominica, in our stores, our bars, our supermarkets, and at our hotels and other tourism sites. Therefore, our public and private sector personnel must be prepared to manage this heightened activity. We must be prepared to provide the high standard of security service required to ensure the total satisfaction and safety of our visitors.
The 5-day workshop is funded by the Organization of American States.
In more news, the new telecoms director, Bennett Thomas, wants to bring about a greater consciousness of the general public to the world of ICTs in order to realize maximum benefits within the telecoms sector. Thomas, who replaced Sylvester Cadet as the island's new telecoms director on June 1st, comes to the position with a wealth of knowledge and experience in the telecommunications and ICT sector. He says his plan is to bring all stakeholders, including members of the public and the private sector, together to work at creating an e-conscious society.
What we are trying to do is to bring a consciousness and awareness of the entire population, not just government, but every citizen, the private sector, all the stakeholders out there. We want to have a vision where we can train our people, develop the young people, develop the entrepreneurs, so Dominica becomes part of that digital divide and we can begin to maximize the benefits from the sector. My vision is to get Dominicans involved in that process, to create jobs, to create a learning environment, a smart community. We have a number of young people out there who are qualified, who are trained, who are smart, but they're not being utilized and making maximum use of the technology and the emerging technology. So that's the vision, to move forward, get an e-consciousness in Dominica.
Thomas says under his work program, his goal is to have at least one person in every household e-conscious. He told GIS News that his department will begin this process with a major sensitization drive.
We are going to inform the private sector. We are going to have consultation in the private sector. We want to have a collaborative relationship with the private sector, with other stakeholders out there, and make them understand how we can begin to take maximum advantage of ICT. So we are going to work on a public awareness, and I think last week we had an ICT Fest, which was the media launch, but the actual festival will take about July 2nd to 4th, and you'll begin to see some innovative thing that we are doing. That is just to show persons in Dominica what we can do with ICT, some of the things we can do there. And from there, we are going to move on further.
An e-health program to link all health information system island-wide and an e-education program to facilitate virtual classrooms are two other initiatives being proposed by the new telecoms director. Thomas is of the view that telecommunications and ICT is very important to the socio-economic development of any country, and Dominica is no exception.
In more news, 55 prospective entrepreneurs graduated from the St. Joseph Small Business Development Project last Friday. The business project, which was funded by the government of Dominica, is an initiative to address entrepreneurs to open their own businesses or develop existing ones. During the program, participants were exposed to marketing and advertising tips, among other skills. Project coordinator Karen Prevo, in her address at the graduation ceremony, highlighted the goals of the business program.
This program, which has been taking place over the last 2 weeks, has been a training program to really assist our entrepreneurs, our existing and our new entrepreneurs, with the skills that are required to start or to run and manage a successful business. The first program we held last week, we had 33 participants. They were all, or you were all existing business owners from all different sectors. I think it was a very diverse group. We had people who were in retail, some of you in restaurant and bar business. We had people in the boutique business. We had people who are into manufacturing.
Prevo went on to say that the efforts of both Dominica's Prime Minister and the parliamentary representative for the St. Joseph constituency must be recognized.
Overall, I would like to say again on behalf of the community of St. Joseph that we appreciate the effort made by the government and the Prime Minister, the PAREP, in starting this program. I believe that this is the beginning of a lot of other things to come, and I think that we will continue to see more programs in St. Joseph. Will continue to get more assistance in this area. I know that the NDFD is soon starting a training program in St. Joseph as well in baking and sewing. I know that we're trying to get a few young people to sign up for this program. The Dominica Youth Business Trust is also accepting applications for July, so we've spoken to some of the young people who qualify. It would be great if you could apply as well. And Overall, I would like to say again that everybody who turned out and everybody who participated, it was a great effort on your part. I really appreciated the opportunity to interact with all of you, being from the community as well, and knowing some of you, understanding what you are involved in and what you are into. I think it was also a good opportunity for me to be able to work in the community with you all. So again, thank you very much to our officials and thank you very much to you, and I really hope that this program is an inspiration to all of us and that we will see much more of programs like this in the community of St. Joseph.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, who is also Finance Minister, in his remarks at the graduation ceremony, expounded on the total number of individuals who have so far benefited from government's various business training programs. He noted that the government of Dominica has invested over $8 million in this initiative.
We established a small business support unit in 2008, and so far we have provided assistance to 1,800 individuals across Dominica. And during that time, we have given in excess of $8.6 million through the small business support unit.
Prime Minister Skerritt guaranteed the entrepreneurs that his government will ensure that funding is made available to all the individuals who applied to the program.
I listened and I took note of the point that some 80 people applied and we only have 55 here today. I want to say to those of you who are not here today or who are here but who are not part of this graduation ceremony, that I shall make the additional funds available to the council to ensure that everybody who applied can in fact get some benefit. I shall speak to Kelvin, we will put in place the second training program so that of the 20 or so people who were quote-unquote left out will certainly benefit from this exercise and from the small business.
Honorable Kelva Daru, parliamentary representative for the St. Joseph constituency, felt strongly that commendation ought to be given to Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt for sourcing the necessary funds to establish the business training venture.
I decided as a member of parliament to go to the Prime Minister and to request from him some assistance to help we the people to develop ourselves further and become self-sustainable. And the Prime Minister, being the person that he is, very compassionate, very eager, and has the interest of the best of the average people at heart, he made these funds available at the inauguration of the St. Joseph Village Council to ensure that here in this constituency we can become self-sustainable.
While government continues to ensure that funds are made available to support small businesses, Honorable Daru encouraged the entrepreneurs to utilize the capital approved wisely.
My dear friends, you have gone through the training, and now you have been given the skills and you have the resources now at your disposal. And now you have to take ownership and responsibility. So when you receive your checks, you have to ensure that you use the money wisely, and you ensure that at the end of the day, you can see yourself being a successful entrepreneur. The government has done its part. As a parliamentary representative, I have done my part, and I have negotiated on your behalf for these funds. Now you have the funds. Now you have to take your responsibility and ensure that you make good use of this fund.
Dennis Simon and Marlon Basil, participants from the Small Business Program, elaborated on some of their experiences during the business training.
We learned being a true entrepreneur means you should be creative and innovative in your business. You also have to be able to analyze your market and figure out the best way to strategically place your product or service in this market. In order to do this, you must market your product. You can do this by branding your product, advertising, product development, or promotional strategies. We also learned the importance of planning. A man without a plan is one who plans to fail. There are several different types of plans, including long-term, short-term, strategic, and business plans. Business plans are important to us when we are seeking funding for our business. Banks and other lenders request professional business plans with accurate projections. In order to make accurate projections, we need to keep accurate records at all times, even keeping all small exchanges of money are important to record.
We learn things like being creative, which means having a clear idea of what you want to do and standing out, being creative and standing out. Doing new things. And we learn about innovation, which means using your creativity to bring that thing forward. And for everyone that was involved in the committee, especially the Prime Minister, and everyone else. I hope that we, as entrepreneurs, can go forward with our business and expand our business in the future.
The Small Business Program is a government-funded initiative which is expected to be taken to other communities throughout the island.
In more news, the government of Dominica, with assistance from the Chinese Agricultural Mission, is in the process of constructing a modern agricultural station in the north of the island. This project came about when the former station, which was located in Hillsborough, was severely damaged in 2011 by flooding. The Hillsborough facility was then relocated to the suitable property in 1 Mile Portsmouth. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Eisenhower Douglas, told GIS News that the state-of-the-art agricultural station is expected to be ready by the end of July. He said the facility, when complete, will boast a modern greenhouse among other amenities.
You recall about 2 years ago, we had the flooding of the Lai River, which damaged the agricultural station in Hillsborough. Well, since then, the government of Dominica and the People's Republic of China has agreed to establish a modern agricultural station in 1 Mile in Portsmouth, and the greenhouse that is being established there will be the most modern in the English-speaking Caribbean, so that we'll be able to provide a major boost to the agricultural sector. We actually expect that the construction of that facility will be completed by the end of July. The facility is still under construction. So we expect to have an opening ceremony soon thereafter, at which the minister, the PM, number of officials will be there for the formal opening of the agricultural station sometime maybe early August or towards the end of July. We haven't actually set a date yet, but we know that based on the work going on there now, that the facility will be ready.
The $2.1 million new agricultural station in 1 Mile Portsmouth will be equipped with a number of state-of-the-art agricultural equipment and technology, which will be available for use by the island's farmers.
And students all over the island brought in their monetary contributions to their respective schools last Friday on the occasion of the Education Trust Fund's Contribution Day, previously referred to as Dollar Day. This activity, which is held every year, is aimed at raising money to assist less fortunate students to get a comfortable education. Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Education Trust Fund, Willie Favre, during an interview last Friday, said although the organization receives donations from other sources, Contribution Day gives all students an opportunity to make their own contributions to the Education Trust Fund.
Government makes its contribution, the private sector, the people in general, so we just wanted a special opportunity for the schools to get involved. So we expect that the principals, well, I'm sure they've all been informed, will encourage the parents to provide a little support to the Education Trust Fund by giving their children at least $1 to contribute to the fund.
Favre added that the Education Trust Fund assists parents whose economic situation does not allow for adequate provision of necessary school supplies and fees. He said in those cases, the Education Trust Fund assists with these expenses, including textbooks, transportation, and examination fees. In addition to Contribution Day, funds are also raised from the organization's annually held radiothon and private sector donations.
Various companies make regular annual contributions. You have individuals who make regular annual contributions. And ordinary people just come around and give a contribution to the Education Trust Fund.
The chairman hopes that funds collected this year will surpass $10,000 as statistics indicate significant increases between the year 2009 and 2012.
Even if you have made your contribution, this is an opportunity for the children themselves to assist their peers. There are some children who really are struggling to get their books and to pay the registration fees. A lot of them apply to the Education Trust Fund. So in order to be able to assist them, we need to get the money. So if the children understand that, they will probably give up their little snack and make a contribution to the Education Trust Fund.
The Education Trust Fund is reporting that approximately 600 students are assisted annually with contributions from the government and the public. Donations to the Education Trust Fund are accepted year-round. The Education Trust Fund's Contribution Day was first launched back in 2005. Quite a very good initiative indeed, Mervin.
Indeed it is. I mean, a lot of things that we take for granted every year. I mean, I'm sure that some people, when they wake up in the morning, they have lots of things to give their children and more. There are some others around the island, sometimes our neighbor, who just can't afford to cover the books or the basic stationery items to get their children to school. So this is indeed a great initiative.
Certainly, and we must mention too that members of the private sector continuously donate and give contributions towards the Education Trust Fund. And I recall back in 2012, corporate citizen Malcolm Stevens and Sons made a donation of $5,000 towards the Education Trust Fund. And we have to appreciate that every year people apply for assistance from the Education Trust Fund, and these contributions just guarantee that these applicants will in fact get some assistance.
And it's interesting that we mentioned the contribution day. I mean, a lot of us on the street there, we hear about these things every day. We hear about the fact that the Education Trust Fund, we hear about it on the radio, it has benefited this person, that person, but how much do we contribute? And I think this is a perfect opportunity for individuals to make their own contributions.
Okay, so a call for all of us to, give and support the Education Trust Fund, because we're assisting a child or children in getting a good education.
And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, le gouvernement Dominique qui servi à de l'argent qui People's Republic of China, qui a financé le pays Caraïbes, une réhabilitation pour Ouzo. Parole celle-là a sorti au Premier ministre, Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt.
Port Dominique, c'est un port qui a bâti en longtemps qui passé. Et puis tous ces cyclones qu'on a fait, qui détruit à port là, donc nous devons faire un port neuf. Et puis nous avons aussi discuté et puis China en loan pour bâtir un port neuf en Dominique aussi.
Le gouvernement Dominique aussi mis l'argent en aide bank.
Aide bank là, comme ça, nous venons au gouvernement en 2000. Pièce pour pratiquer aide bank l'argent. Vous comprenez? Il pas de pièce l'argent. C'est un petit l'argent il était prêté monde. Il était payé vivre, il a servi l'argent ça là pour payer mon qui travaille et puis comme ça. Donc nous tenons pour mettre les affaires aide bank en place. Et puis nous allons dehors là, nous négocier et puis gouvernement Venezuela et puis European Investment Bank et puis CDB aussi pour nous l'argent pour aide bank. Et puis nous ça taper l'argent sur ces banques ça là pour prêter mon Dominique qui voulait investir faire investissement en Dominique. Et puis nous baisser interest rate là 12% pour 6 et demi. Et puis si nous tapons l'argent en China à 2 personnes, nous ça prêter ces gens qui veulent faire investissement en Dominique à 5% ou à 6%. So, ça c'est une bonne nouvelle pour les gens Dominique qui veulent bâtir hôtel, qui veulent aller au tourisme, qui veulent aller faire la production produits pour exporter notre pays.
À la nouvelle, Dominique ni un directeur télécoms neuf. M. Bennett Thomas commencé à travailler en position 9 salam depuis le 1er juin l'année 2013. Thomas parle compte comment ça fait ICT qui travaille.
Télécom, c'est un bagage, tout le monde Dominique connaît téléphone. So là, il y a un télécom, il y a parler par téléphone. Mais il n'est plus passé ça. Il y a des bagages computer, il y a des bagages qui est internet. So tout ça, là, on met ça ensemble, on y a ça qui est information and communication technology, ça qui est ça ICT. So à Dominique, en l'eau, monde déjà connaît quand bagaille ça. Il y a des enfants à l'école, il y a sur Google, il y a sur social network, tout ça c'est bagaille télécom. Monde qui savent téléphone, il y a fax, il y a sur internet, il y a sur Facebook, tout bagaille comme ça. Monde ça prend your credit card et swipe à sur machine, tout ça c'est ICT. Ou les gars bagaille overseas. Dominique a fait ça tout le temps. Il y a sur jeune fille qui a allé sur le website, qui a mis des bagages qui a gagné hard, qui a gagné ça y est. Nous ça fait ça Dominique, nous nous faciliter ces web access. So nous ni ça Dominique, ça nous a dit c'est nous pouvons maximize benefit là hardly. And ça nous a try faire now is to taper monde pour ni commitment pour aller faire ça. Mettez tout les business sur internet. Mais là où faire ça, on est ça qui est ou les protections, le monde qui a hack système parce que tout détail là. So nous pour mettre la législation en place pour ensure pour prendre les monde qui hack into business ou records. So tout ça nous a gardé, bagage comme ça nous a gardé.
On a nouvelle, le ministre touriste qui a conduit un workshop semaine qui a concerné la sécurité pour le secteur cela. Plusieurs officiers qui sont engagés en secteur là comme police, la douane, en parmi d'autres, qui attendu le workshop là pour longue semaine cela. OES qui a collaboré avec le ministre touriste pour faciliter le workshop là. Ministre touriste Honorable Ian Douglas, président pour l'association Hôtel à Dominique Yvonne Amor, et puis un officier OES délivré parole pour ouvrir le workshop cela. Honorable Douglas en parole est délivré, dit que le gouvernement a mis en place augmenter plusieurs facilités pour la touriste à visiter. Honorable Douglas complimenté OES pour venir à bord, faciliter le workshop là. Il dit Dominique qui travaille bien wed chaîne destination là en ordre. Saison touriste l'année 2013-2014, quand expecté pour avancer pour 39% ou la 50 bateaux neufs qui l'enquête ici. Honorable Douglas qui à ce secteur privé et public pour travailler et puis situation neuf salam, bagaille pour avancement industrie touriste Dominique. Finalement, messieurs et mesdames, habitants Dominique supposé ni forme application neuf, hors ministre agriculture, si on ni pour qualifier taper plan neuf, alors on y fait à Sirikin, l'occasion en ordre pour replanter dawe citrus. Parole ça là sorti de officier certification ministre agriculture. Monsieur Joseph Blankford.
Là, vous avez venu pour ces plats-là, vous pour faire cette ni forme application qui a dit place là pas oui pour partir ces plats-là. Parce que si plats-là comme l'argent pour vous, faire cette c'est mon qui a fait bon use et puis c'est planter matériel-là parce qu'il a consommé l'eau l'argent pour produire. Nous pas voulu anika van les bayou avait place là papa oui pour yo au place ni maladie déjà so il pas qu'à faire PS16 nous ka van les bayou aussi nous l'année ça là nous pas qu'à van place pour monde qui a platé à la couille parce tout partout au Dominique à ce la couille à ce residential areas là Jeanne Vector avait ni symptômes maladie. So, il n'y a pas qu'à faire PSS, nous avons vendre plat de si il n'y a pas nettoyé ces places-là, il va éliminer un vecteur maladie à la couraille.
Messieurs et mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson, St. Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, find out how you can better prepare for a hurricane. On today's tip of the day.
Scary! Everything just shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking, then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, Get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and SEDERA.
When the weatherman tells you to take cover because a hurricane is on the way, the last thing you want to do is worry about whether you are prepared. A little effort now before catastrophe strikes can yield big savings and peace of mind in the future. The following tips can help you plan ahead so you never have to face a storm unprepared. Check your insurance coverage to make sure it reflects the current state of your home. Consider adding flood insurance and coverage for additional living expenses in case your home is uninhabitable after a storm.
Doing a home inventory can save you time and make filing a claim easier, ensuring you don't forget anything. Document the contents of your home with a video camera or other home inventory tool. Keep receipts for valuable items and consider separate coverage for these things. Stock your emergency supply kit with basic survival items. You'll want to have a 2-week supply of water and ready-to-eat non-perishable food for every family member and pet. If you evacuate, you'll want a 3-day supply of the same.
Have an established evacuation plan to help reduce stress. If you don't have transportation of your own, make arrangements now with friends or family members. And don't forget about the pets. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and your comments, so drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you can visit our website at news.gov.dm.
Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Mervin.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Thank you so much for watching.